Hi guys! Today I wanted to share with you the deck list that I used to climb to Infinite and talk a bit about how to pilot the deck and why I think it's good. This is a bit of a follow-up to my previous video talking about Zabu and how Zabu is currently the best card in the game, especially with how they've buffed some other 4-cost cards and taken Captain Marvel from a 5-cost card down to a 4-cost, so that there's just so many good things you can do with Zabu right now. You can sort of pretty much find any direction that you want to take 4-cost cards and they're gonna perform well. So for this month, I settled on a Valkyrie deck. I think Valkyrie is one of the most underrated cards. I think it's one of the best surprise cards in the game. And my 4-cost strategy that I'm using Zabu for is just big, stupid, dumb guys. Sentry, Attuma, Typhoid Mary, just a lot of power for that 4-cost. And this deck is super synergistic. It's got a couple of things you can do with it that really take people by surprise. I've tightened up this deck list. I think this is about as tight as this deck list gets. I would personally consider this to be the best version of a Sentry Valkyrie deck. I don't really see how I would change it anymore at this point. So let's talk a bit about what this deck can do and how everything synergizes and works together. You have the hood. The hood is very important in this deck. Number one, because you can do just the hood on turn 1, Viper on turn 2, which is a very strong opening play. It also gives you the 1 energy 6 power demon, which is very important for a specific Valkyrie play that I'm going to talk about. So the hood is just always a solid turn 1 play. If you don't draw Viper, you can later on play Valkyrie and turn the hood from a -3 into a +3 power card. And you can sort of use it to control whether you have priority or not. Some games you want to have priority, depending on what your opponent's deck is. Some games you don't want to have priority. So you can hold back the hood or you can play the hood depending on if you want to intentionally set yourself back in power. So really strong, really flexible card. Excellent 1 energy card in this deck. Next up you have Zero. Zero is good to supplement your strategy unless if you don't hit your key cards, you can use Zero to negate Sentry, so you can just play a 10-cost Sentry without the penalty. You can use Zero before you play Attuma to make sure that he doesn't die when you play other stuff in that lane. You can use Zero together with Typhoid Mary so that she doesn't debuff the rest of your board. Typically, these things aren't that worrisome in general because you have other cards that sort of negate these effects or even turn them into part of your strategy. But if you don't draw those cards, you can use Zero to safely be able to play your 4-cost cards. Anyway, you have Luke Cage. Luke Cage is super important because of a synergy together with Valkyrie. I'm going to talk about that. That's something that most people don't know about. It's actually really, really strong. You can win games with this combo. And I haven't seen it talked about all that much because I don't think most people even know about it. We'll get to that when we talk about Valkyrie. Then you have Zabu. Zabu cost reduces all of your 4-cost cards, and they're already powerhouses. Getting them down to 3 energy means that you have so much flexibility in your plays. Playing the Sentry Viper combo on turn 5, for example, dumping 2 of them on turn 6. It's huge power swings that your opponent is not expecting. If you play Zabu on turn 2, that by itself is giving you really good odds to win the game. Next up, we have Armor. Armor together with Cosmo are great in this particular meta because in this particular meta, everyone and their mother are running Destroy decks. You see Destroy decks everywhere. Nimrod Destroy, Thanos Destroy, Classic Destroy. Now we're gonna get a whole Destroy season with Daken and Lady Deathstrike and X-23. And having just a deck that relies so heavily on Zabu and Armor, it just steamrolls those decks. What are they gonna do, right? Otherwise, typically a Sentry deck can be a bit iffy against Destroy because you create your Void, you send your Void over to the opponent's side with Viper, and then they just destroy it. But if you can just be a bit smart about how you play your Armor and your Cosmo, you can negate most of their Destroy effects and you'll win pretty easily. Armor is otherwise in the deck to protect Attuma. You can play Armor first and then you can play Attuma in that lane and Attuma won't die. So it's also good for just protecting your other 4-cost cards, Sentry and Typhoid Mary, against Shang-Chi, because everyone runs Shang-Chi as well. That's also what Cosmo is for, to protect against Shang-Chi. Cosmo can also negate Sentry if you don't want Sentry to spawn a Void in some games because you don't have Valkyrie and you don't have a way of giving it away. Then you can just play Cosmo into Sentry and you get your 10 power, but without the Void. Viper's a standout. Viper can give your enemy the hood. Viper can also give your enemy the void. And that's basically the two things that Viper is in this deck to do. And those things are good enough to where that alone makes Viper like an auto include. It's a game-winning play for just 2 energy. So that's it. There's nothing more to talk about. Shang-Chi is in the deck because Shang-Chi costs 4, so he's good with Zabu, and Shang-Chi is also the best card in the game besides Zabu. Shang-Chi is the most played card in the entire game. I don't have to talk about why I'm putting Shang-Chi in the deck. If you can put Shang-Chi in your decks, you should. If you can put Spider-Ham in your decks, you should. It's like, just take any deck, put Shang-Chi in it, and it's gonna be better. That's it. Then you have the 3 big boys. Well, 2 big boys and a big girl. Attuma, Sentry, Typhoid Mary. That's your big powerhouses, your big 10 power cards that you just slam down on your opponent. Usually can't do anything about it. Sentry is potentially a 20 power card if you can give away the void as well. Just solid power. Typhoid Mary, you can negate her penalty with Luke Cage or with 0. Use either one of the 2. So that she doesn't debuff the rest of your board. And then we come to Valkyrie, who is like one of the best cards in the game. It's the best card in this deck, maybe, unless it's Zabu. Valkyrie is just such a great surprise play. No one ever considers it. No one plays around it. No one ever thinks you're going to slam down Valkyrie on turn 6. So they have these massive built up power stuff that you just negate all of it. Now what's good about this is if you have played the hood previously, you have a 1/6 in your hand, the demon, which means that you can take a lane that you have 2 cards in. And then you play in that order Valkyrie and demon. Everything else is going to go down to 3 power, and then you're going to put a 6 power demon in the end, so you're just going to steal that lane. It's just going to take the lane. Unless they have ongoing cards, like Darkhawk or Null, then it won't work. But so long as it's not ongoing effects, you can just use this to steal a lane. If you have one lane that you're already going to win anyway, then you do the Valkyrie Demon play, and you take a second lane, and you win. Comes out of nowhere. Doesn't matter how far your enemy is ahead, you just take the lane. Then we have the big one, the Luke Cage Valkyrie combo, and I don't understand why people don't know about this. It's so strong, but no one's playing it. Like, I see so many Valkyrie deck lists that don't use Luke Cage, and like, I don't understand it. So here's how it works. Luke Cage, he makes it so that your cards cannot lose power. They can gain power, but they can't lose it. Which means that if you have Luke Cage on the board, and you play Valkyrie, your Attuma, your Sentry, and your Typhoid Mary, they are gonna stay 10 power. They're not gonna go down to 3. You can raise up your Hood to become a 3 power card, you can raise up the Void to become a 3 power card, but your bigger cards are not gonna go down. So if you have like a contested lane, where you have, for example, Sentry, just being a 10 power card, and you have Luke Cage on the board, you can put down Valkyrie in the Sentry lane, and you're just gonna win that lane, because Sentry by itself is 10 power, Valkyrie is 3, that's 13, even if your opponent has 4 cards in that lane, they can only go up to 12 power, so that's just you win. You win the lane by itself with those 2 cards. So that's the deck. It's a very funky deck. You can do a lot of creative plays with it. Very few games are going to play out the same way. You have to think on your feet a lot, but the power is definitely there. I used it to climb to infinite pretty easily. And I've also included in this video some gameplay of me playing this deck in Conquest, so that you can see sort of like how it works in another competitive environment. And I hope you enjoy it, just see if you learn something about how to pilot it. And if you like it, then maybe consider subscribing. And I will see you again some other time for something completely different. So if you want actual competitive matchups once you've hit Infinite, you have to go play Conquest. Which is what we're doing. So you got turn 2 Zabu. Turn 2 Zabu is like... If I have turn 2 Zabu, I have Sentry, Viper, Shang-Chi in hand. Like, I don't even know what he's playing, but it's almost an auto snap right here. Especially since we got Monster Island, where I can just Shang his thing. He hasn't played any cards yet, so what is this? Mr. Negative? Aww. Well, if he is playing Destroy, he just got a huge null and a 0 power death. If he's not playing Destroy, then we're fine. I pretty much have all the cards I need to win this game. The only thing that's preventing me from snapping is just that I don't know what my opponent is playing. But we only live once, so let's do this. Don't have Valkyrie. That's pretty much the only card I would have wanted to have in this spot. It is. It is. Armor. Don't mind that. Don't mind that. So we'll just do Viper. And I think I'll also armor a lane. It's gonna if he is playing some sort of destroy deck with the destroyer, maybe, then this is gonna prevent him from like carnaging the void. Whoop. And armor. Cyclops, it's high evolutionary. Huh. Huh. Okay. So it's just like Shang Luke Cage then. I want to get Luke Cage in play to prevent any cost reduction shenanigans he might be planning for. And then it's like Typhoid Mary 0. Seems like a pretty good turn 6. Maybe since we're playing Conquest, I could have held back Shang-Chi, I mean Luke Cage, because I think I'm going to win even without Luke Cage. There's Mr. Bomb Bomb. So he's obviously not going to move the void over here. Which means we have to reinforce it. Since I have Luke Cage, it doesn't matter which order I play Typhoid Mary 0 in. I could obviously just move the monster over here. Abandon this lane. Let's do that. Let's abandon this lane. Just take these two lanes, right? Can that backfire? This is gonna put me at what? 24. So if he plays Hulk here, that's the only thing he can play that turn. Then I still win these two lanes. You know what? Maybe that's overkill. Maybe I don't need to. Maybe I'm overthinking things here. Maybe I'll leave Shang so we have a bit more power here. He might slam down a Hulk here. So something like this. What even is this play? Yeah, he was gonna slam down a Hulk here. Victory. We got a couple of different options for just how to spread our power. But that worked out well for us. Don't like Mindscape. I guess I can just leave junk in my hand for him. I'm at the point where I'm like, I just snap as soon as I see Zabu in my starting hand. Sunspot. He might protect that with armor. We once again get the early Luke Cage, so he can't get cost reduction on his Abomination. Yep, he armored that lane. Predictable. Okay. Aw, my Typhoid Mary. Well, since he armored the lane, I can just slam down Attuma. And then I have... No, we can save that as a surprise play. He doesn't know I have Attuma. We can do the Hood Viper play instead. Just mess with his lane. Cosmo here. Why? He already has armor. Doesn't accomplish all that much. I guess I can put down 0 here, if I want to. So we're gonna do Luke Cage and 0, I think. I'll hold back the Demon, because Demon plus Valkyrie is like guaranteed lane steal. Okay, so Cyclops can't do anything. We get a Cosmo. Okay, so definitely want to put down the Attuma so he doesn't get the Attuma. And I don't want him to get the Demon either, so I have to play the Demon. So I'll give him a Shang-Chi and a Cosmo. Well, so long as we know what we're giving him. I don't care about that. So it all comes down to his draw. I don't see what he can do with a Shang-Chi and a Cosmo here. And he's not going to draw the Hulk, because I drew the Hulk. Yeah. Pretty straightforward. And he gives up. Well played. I don't want to play 0 on turn 1. Luke Cage on turn 2 is a fine play. Multiple man. Now obviously I don't want to play 0 here because I do want to generate... Oh! Okay. Sentry, Viper, Zabu! What a play, what a maneuver. And then we'll just see what my opponent does. I'm not snapping until I know what sort of crazy things he's going to be up to. Iron Lad roll for it. Iron Lad Shuri. Sure. Okay. So putting the Demon here would be nice. It will get the +3 power, except that these are going to swap positions. So let's not do a whole lot this turn. I don't think a move deck has a way of getting rid of the Void. It's playing Shuri. I still have priority, which means I can't Shang this lane this turn. But I can do 0, Mary, Demon. This is so strong that I'm gonna snap. Now obviously he's gonna play something that he can then move. So if I have priority, which I will, then Phoenix Force. Why didn't it get double power? Why didn't... What am I missing here? Why didn't Shuri trigger? Victory. I don't... What happened there? Why... Oh, because the location moved. The location that he played Shuri in moved, so we were supposed to play it. Because even if Shuri moves, you still have to play the second minion in that location. But I guess if the location moves, man, I hadn't even considered that. That is hilarious. That is really funny. I honestly hadn't considered that until now. That's great. Oh! Replace my deck with random cards. I can still do Cosmo Sentry. Since I no longer have a reliable way of getting rid of the void, I'll just make sure that I won't get a void. Should play something this turn though. Let's just fill this up, because I have my my curve here. Cosmo, Sentry, Valkyrie, Giganto. Oh, that changes things. So we're gonna Cosmo so he can't get rid of his hood. I'm gonna snap. Like, I can just wait a turn with the Valkyrie. We're double snapping. I don't know what he has, obviously, but I know what I have. Raccoon Demon, sure. Daredevil is a fun card. Can I fit Daredevil into my curve? No, I don't think I can. Yeah. I'm starting to feel more and more like his snap was just sort of him giving up. I could do this. And then I can do both Valkyrie and Giganto. Okay, Nimrod. Arrow is a fun play to deny him his Nimrod combo. Is Arrow here better than Giganto here? Or Valkyrie here. Oh, that's so juicy. No, he has priority, so Valkyrie here wouldn't work. Damn. Because then I could make his Nimrod small before he destroys it. No, it's gotta be Giganto then. Sunspot. Carnage. Why would even... I guess just to make Carnage a little bit stronger. So what's great about this is that... the Valkyrie combo is... It always takes people by surprise. Always. He won't even know what hit him. Weak sauce. He thought he would have a big Carnage there. He did not. Valkyrie is such an underrated card. It's like no one ever sees it coming. No one ever predicts it or prepares for it. So whenever you manage to play Valkyrie on like the final turn, you like typically always win 8 cubes with it. God, it's so strong.